Hey everyone, we constantly hear these wild, almost alarming headlines about artificial intelligence and automation taking over, right? Well, today, we're cutting through all the hype and looking past the buzzwords. In this explainer, we're strictly mapping out the structural, ethical, and economic changes heading our way, and we're grounding it all in the direct data and theories presented in our source material. So let's just dive right in. So what happens when all the dirty, dull, and dangerous jobs are gone? Our immediate assumption is usually that robots are only coming for blue-collar, manual labor. We immediately picture heavy lifting on an assembly line or hazardous waste disposal. Basically, we think of machines doing the things humans simply don't want to do. But as we unpack the data today, it becomes super clear that's only a tiny fraction of the story. The ripple effects of robotics go way, way beyond the factory floor, and they're going to impact our society in ways we're honestly just beginning to understand.
Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1. The jobless future hypothesis. To truly grasp this hypothesis, we need to view it through a really specific binary lens: labor displacement versus labor augmentation. Augmentation basically means technology makes human workers more productive and effective. Think of a highly trained surgeon using a robotic arm to perform a super intricate microscopic operation. This human is completely in charge. Their skills are just being amplified. Displacement, on the other hand, means the human is removed from the equation entirely. And this right here is the core economic tension we're facing globally. Which of these two forces will ultimately win out? Will technology make us better at our jobs, or will it just take them all together?
The data shows an undeniably steep upward curve when it comes to robot-to-human population ratios in the manufacturing sector. Machines are entering the workforce at an absolutely unprecedented rate. This isn't some speculative sci-fi future we're talking about. It's a measurable, statistical shift happening right now, in real time. Confronting this massive influx forces us to ask exactly how the labor market will cope when the scale tips even further towards complete, total automation.
And this is exactly where the narrative takes a massive turn. As Martin Ford points out in his case study, Rise of the Robots, deep learning threatens both white-collar and blue-collar markets. I really want to emphasize this point because it proves that cognitive, professional jobs are just as vulnerable to AI as physical, factory jobs. Roles requiring heavy data analysis, writing, logistics, or even administrative decision-making, they are increasingly within the capabilities of deep learning algorithms. The scope of displacement is widening dramatically across all classes of work.
Moving right along to Section 2, Programming Morality and Asimov. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane and look at the historical theory behind robot ethics, starting with Isaac Asimov's famous 3 laws of robotics. First, do not harm humans. Second, obey orders. Third, protect your own existence. This axiological base, which originated entirely in science fiction, has served as a perfectly logical foundation for how we conceptualize keeping machines safe, helpful, and totally subordinate to human needs. Seems pretty straightforward and foolproof, right?
Well, actually no, because in the real world, those classic laws easily break down. We face the immense danger of edge case failures, like what happens when a machine is placed in a wildly complex environment that Asimov simply didn't anticipate. The reality of modern AI complexities is so intense that we're even debating a potential 4th law specifically covering things like modern data privacy. We are pivoting incredibly fast from the theoretical fiction of the mid-20th century to the very messy reality of 21st century data processing, surveillance, and machine learning.
Put yourself in a software programmer's shoes for just a second. What happens when a direct order, which is Law 2, inherently causes human harm, totally violating Law 1? If an autonomous vehicle is ordered by its passenger to drive at a dangerously high speed, but suddenly a pedestrian steps into the road, how does the vehicle calculate the ethical weight of swerving and harming its passenger versus hitting the pedestrian? Highlighting these inherent conflicts shows us the extreme, practically paralyzing difficulty of trying to translate human morality into automated code. Which brings us to the broader implications in Section 3, Global Security and Autonomy. So, the crucial point is that these ethical dilemmas aren't just fun, academic thought experiments, they have terrifying real-world stakes. When we evaluate the geopolitical risks of autonomous military UAVs, literally drones making targeting and firing decisions entirely on their own, or the risks of medical autonomy, where AI dictates highly complex patient care, the stakes are quite literally life and death. We're no longer talking about a robot efficiently assembling a car engine. We're talking about unfeeling machines making lethal or life-saving decisions entirely without human input.
But hold on, we do need to be super careful here to avoid a really common pitfall: confusing basic automation with true self-directed superintelligence. Basically, your Roomba is not the Terminator. Right now, we're dealing with the massive ethical ramifications of advanced automation algorithms that spot patterns in medical scans or military surveillance. Pop culture often distracts us by jumping straight to superintelligence. Keeping this distinction crystal clear on a practical level is absolutely essential for us to create realistic policies today.
All right, let's pivot to the financial side of things. Section 4, Economics and the Robot Tax.
With widespread automation absolutely looming, one major legislative solution being heavily proposed is the robot tax. This is basically a policy where companies pay a specific tax for replacing human workers with robots. Those collected funds are then utilized by the government to support, retrain, and sustain the displaced labor force. It's a direct financial mechanism designed to manage the economic fallout and redistribute the massive corporate gains that come from automated efficiency.
And this brilliantly illustrates an intense political and economic debate unfolding worldwide right now. On one side, the argument for a robot tax centers entirely on the urgent social need to support displaced workers. It's viewed as a fundamental, necessary safety net. On the opposing side, the argument against it warns that taxing automation will severely stifle technological innovation, penalize efficiency, and make domestic industries way less competitive on a global scale. In covering this explainer, it's vital to note that both of these perspectives carry massive economic weight. Honestly, balancing them is going to be the primary task of lawmakers in the coming decade.
Finally, we reach the ultimate horizon. Section 5, Redefining the Human Identity. If we extend the timeline of technological advancement to its absolute limit, we encounter the technological singularity. This is a hypothetical future point where technological growth becomes uncontrollable and completely irreversible, resulting in unfathomable changes to human civilization. Introducing the singularity elevates our stakes significantly. We've officially moved from discussing job markets and tax codes to questioning the ultimate future trajectory and survival of the human race as we know it. Let's see how this singular horizon builds into biological integration, often referred to as transhumanism. If the singularity truly approaches, rather than being simply replaced by machines, this theory suggests we might adapt through the literal merging of human biology with advanced robotic and AI systems. Think of it as the ultimate extreme form of labor augmentation. We might just secure our place in the future by physically integrating with the very technology that currently threatens to displace us. Which leaves us with a profound final thought. If we physically integrate with machines, what does it actually mean to be human? If our minds are augmented by AI and our bodies by robotics, where does the machine end and the human begin? It's a question that completely challenges the foundation of everything we've unpacked today. I highly encourage you to seek out further reading on this topic, particularly Max Tegmark's fascinating book, Life 3.0, which our sources recommend for diving even deeper into these existential themes. Thank you so much for joining me for this focused explainer on the future of automated ethics. I hope our discussion has left you with a lot of valuable insights to chew on. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.